Hi, everyone. Greetings and happy Monday. I'm your host, Dr. Mallory McCoy, and welcome to this week's live streamed episode of A Monday Moment with Dr. Mal. As always, may this broadcast bring you exactly what you need in the present moment. May my light exude positivity and kindness, and may my love be extended to all who could use a little extra. Ashe. Let's seize the moment. This week, I am incredibly grateful for the time spent, the laughter shared, and the fun that I've had with my little family. We've had some great times as of late, and so I'm excited about that. I'm also grateful that I can pick up the phone and call my mom and dad. That's quite a luxury that is often taken for granted. I'm also grateful I can pick up the phone and call three of my grandparents, and I really need to do a better job of that. My grandma just got a new phone, so I need to call her. I'm grateful that I rose this morning and my phone just had mundane messages on it. Everybody in my family is fine, so and safe and well. So I'm very grateful for that. I'm thankful to be able to support friends in their time of need. I'm grateful for my physical, my mental, my spiritual, and my emotional abundance. I'm grateful today. I just got a chance to spend the whole day being creative. So I know that is a luxury and I know that is a privilege afforded to me. So I'm incredibly grateful for that. I'm grateful that I was able to purchase new contacts and eyeglasses last week. I can see clearly now. I got some glasses and contacts, but I can't wear my glasses on the show. And I'm also grateful for silence, so I can hear what I need to hear. And I'm grateful for my heartbeat. I'm just happy to be alive. So, and in deep gratitude. Now, you know, I love me a good definition, and I'm team facts over feelings. But this section is gonna be really short today because I'm dropping all the facts during the topic of the week. So let's get right to it. Thank you for those of you who are tuning in live to the show, wondering how our astrology has transformed my relationships. And I can't wait to share it with you. Have you ever wondered why some relationships just seem to click and others don't? Personally speaking, in my marriage with my partner, initially we seemed like we clicked, and then we struggled with communication and brought a whole lot of trauma and drama into our relationship. We tried to effectively communicate, and it just seemed like we were always talking to the wall, or he was speaking Spanish and I was speaking Portuguese, not really ever having a clear direction of our communication. And so one day I looked up and I realized like we had a roommate relationship and we were literally living parallel lives. Like here I am, here he is, and here we are together. And so that led to us breaking up in 2020. And it was a hard breakup and a hard reconciliation, which I'll talk a little bit about next week. But in the second breath of our relationship, we have learned and been intentional about learning a lot about astrology. And consequently, learning about astrology has actually completely changed my perspective on all of my relationship dynamics and has helped me to gain a better understanding of why we collectively communicate and respond to things like we do. The most important thing that astrology taught me is the value of compatibility. You and your partner should be able to understand each other's needs and wants without having to explain them in detail, hypothetically speaking, but that doesn't always happen. I know for me, I'm not a person that has any insight about. I'm leaning more into my intuition right now, but before I was just like, you got to tell me. If you don't tell me, I don't know. So, um, it, but ultimately, we should be able to use all of our senses because that intuition is our sixth sense, to understand what others' needs are around us. So that takes a lot of self work, diving deep within. Some may think that all astrological signs are created equal, but this could not be farther from the truth. Each sign has its own unique set of characteristics, strengths, and weaknesses, all of which have an impact on how two people will get along. For example, people with fire sign energy like myself tend to be firecrackers, bringing the party wherever they go, while those with water sign energies, Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces, are more intuitive and emotional. People with earth energy, those are my Taurian friends, my Virgo friends, and my Capricorn friends. They're incredibly grounded and stable. And people with air energy, like my Gemini friends, my Libra friends, and my Aquarian friends, have great ideas and communicate well. So, understanding these traits can help you to determine if you are truly compatible with someone before you commit too deeply in a relationship. And I'm not talking about just a romantic relationship. I'm also talking about any type of relationship dynamic, whether it be career, um, your own personal work, platonic relationships, social relationships with your friends. I think it's important to understand astrology and all those dynamics. Another thing people don't realize is that everyone actually has three different signs, and these are your top three. Um, and that is actually the reason why some people just write off astrology altogether, because they're like, I don't relate with my sun sign. Well, they don't call it the sun sign, but I don't relate with my sign. But there are three: the sun sign, the moon sign, and the rising sign. And your sun sign is actually the most recognized because it's attached to the day that you're born, or the month and the day that you were born. And this sign attributes to our overall attitude and spirit. It literally is the sign of our ego. And so, for example, I just got finished in the last school year with a long-term sub position. And since those babies are the closest to God, they act out in their ego because our ego is intended for survival instincts. And so, like, before I even knew what their sun sign was, I could already tell what their sun, because I know about sun signs. And I was able to guess their sun signs pretty accurately. And they played it out very well. Like one of my students he was a Cancer, and he could not pay attention in class because if the class was in any type of disarray, he had to clean up. He was always there to support his friends. And he would, in the play kitchen, cook me the best vegan meals that you could conjure up, and he would bring them to me in like with like a plate. I have pictures to prove it. So that's just one small example of how the sun sign or the ego sign plays out. But like I said, a lot of people don't relate to the sun sign because there's two other signs at play. So we have the moon sign, and the moon sign changes every 2.5 days and is attached to the month, day, and the year one is born. It rules our subconscious, and it governs the ebbs and flows of our deepest emotions. Our moon sign shapes our relationships and experiences with others. This is the hidden part of ourselves, and it has a great impact on us. One can easily find out your moon sign by Googling, insert your birthday and year and then moon sign. And my favorite website for this is astroseek.com. And because my sun and moon sign are the exact same, I don't really, oh, I need to do something with this lock. I don't really have any experience with them being disconnected. So I operate in my Leo sun and I operate in my Leo moon. And so, yeah, but for other people that I know, well, I should say my husband has different ones, but my son has the same. So he's Capricorn sun and Capricorn moon. So he operates in those same spaces too. So, and a lot of my friends have double signs, which is ironic to say the least. But anyway, the rising sign. This is the one that's important to know about the most, because this also helps to you to know all the rest of your planetary alignments accurately. So the rising sign changes every 2 hours, and it's actually attached to the month, the day, the year, and the time you're born. So to know your rising sign, you have to know what time you're born. It's the vibe and energy you put out into the world. So when people see you, they may and know about astrology, they may mistake you for this sign because this is the sign that or the characteristics, the sign that you show everyone. And because a lot of people don't know their birth time, they don't know that this is a part of them. But once you do find out your birth time, you can use apps like CoStar, the Pattern, or my favorite, Time Passages, to read and learn about yourself. Um, if you're looking to find out what your birth time is, you can always order your birth certificate from the state. You can contact the hospital that you're born in, or you could just ask your mama. I know for me, I'll never forget the time or the time that my baby was born. And so, but I mean, I only knew my own time because I made it a point as a kid to remember stuff like that because I had photographic memory. So anyway, learning astrology has also helped me appreciate how much power the planets like Venus and Mars and other celestial beings have over our lives. The position of these planets can tell us a lot about our personalities as well as our relationships with other people. For example, I have a Mercury in Virgo, and that means that I communicate well and I'm very detail oriented. And so that's how I communicate. And yeah, I when I communicate with others and I'm like, oh, I got a couple of friends, including one that I live with, who is this is really bothering me. I need to fix it. I'll fix it. Mercury and Sagittarius, very, very blunt. Says everything they want to say with their chest. I'm like, oh, oh, fix it, Jesus, fix it. Okay, anyway. Uh, the also I'm learning and diving into planetary houses, and the houses are used to predict how your life will play out. So they blend into the energies of the sun, the moon, your rising, and your planetary placements. And it's something that I'm slowly learning about. But the more I learn about it, I'm like, aha, that makes so much sense. And it's making life make so much sense. So, um, if you're here and you're curious and you're like, I don't believe in that stuff, um, in honor of the strawberry moon, full moon that's coming up in Capricorn, I need you to ask a teacher how children act when there's a full moon. Because they will certainly tell you something different. I mean, you don't have to go into a classroom and see that people act different when the energy changes in the sky, because we can look in our society. You just turn on the local news. I say all that to say, learning astrology has been an eye-opening experience for me. It's one that has allowed me to gain insight into my own platonic and romantic relationships, as well as those around me. So by exploring the power of compatibility through the lens of astrological signs and planetary positions, I've come to understand why some relationships click and others don't. This knowledge has been invaluable in helping me make informed decisions about my love life, even. So, if you're looking for a way to bring fresh perspective into your relationships, then you should certainly consider learning about astrology. And that's actually my call to action for you today, is just to open your mind. Because in my experience, if people don't know much about astrology, then they're at least interested in it. And so I would encourage you to dive deep to figure out at least your top three signs, especially those who read about their sun sign and the description doesn't directly relate with them. It's easy to write off astrology completely if you don't resonate with your sun sign, as I previously mentioned, but it could be because you present from your rising or your moon sign, or, you know, because the houses certainly affect the energy that you put out. So, for example, my rising sign is Sagittarius in the first house, and so my need to dive into a lot of information and just drown myself with intellect is very prevalent in my life. So, um, and for anybody who has school age children, because it's not, I mean, the my generation and the generation before, there's some people who are interested in it, but now I feel like the tides are turning more toward esoteric practices. And so you can ask them about astrology. They're learning about it on TikTok anyway. I know when I went into one classroom, it just, they opened up the conversation to talk about it because they noticed that I had my a Leo necklace on or something like that. So um, they they know and they're learning about it and they're understanding about it. So ask your local child. uh, Personally, I feel like, you know, like how we do the personality test to group people, how they can work together. I seriously think that we should consider also grouping people by their astrological programming. Something to be looked at. Maybe I'll look at it. You could also find an astrologer and have them give you an expert reading. I actually did this for my birthday last year. I had my first astrological or astrology reading with Kateria Knows. She is on the gram, but you can just type in Kateria Knows and she pops up. She has studied astrology for 26 years, and she doesn't even look like she's any older than 26 years old, but you know what they say. The black don't crack. Anyway, and with my birth date, my time of birth, and my place of birth, she was able to tell me more about myself than I was even aware of. And I, from that, I felt incredibly enlightened with astrology. And I actually look forward to studying astrology more with experts in the game. Deborah Silverman is one. Her classes, I'm saving up so that I can uh, attend her class, because school's never out for this lifelong learner. And now, at this point, I realize that life in this earthly plane is simply a classroom, not a courtroom. So I'm looking forward to learning more as much as I can. So to wrap up, I'm going to leave you with a quote and some affirmations, as I always do. My quote comes from one of my favorite songs by Beyonce, or actually just one of my favorite songs, period. It's called Bigger. And it's a really affirming song. So the lyrics go, understand that truth about that question in your soul. Look up, don't look down, then watch the answers unfold. Life is your birthright. They hid that in the fine print. Take a pen and rewrite it. I love that song. Oh my God. And then for affirmations, I used a couple of websites to help me to formulate these affirmations for each of the sun signs. But if you have your rising sign, you can also read it for your rising sign too. So for the Aries, I am successful. For the Taurus, I have the power to achieve my dreams. For the Gemini, I learn a variety of things to move toward my dreams. For the Cancer, I feel loved, relaxed, and affirmed. For the Leo, come on, Leo, I will let my light shine with unmatched confidence. They're going to do that anyway. Okay, we going to do that anyway. But for the Virgo, I analyze the situation, not the outcome. Oof, for all my Virgo friends who overthink. For the Scorpio, I attract good things like a magnet, and they do. For the Sagittarius, I live to my full potential, and we do. For the Capricorn, I utilize my mind to manifest my dreams. For the Aquarius, I know what I really want. And for the Pisces, I believe in myself. I'll let that resonate for a bit. You can catch those on my blog if you missed them. Well, that's all for me this week. This was short and sweet. You can check out my blog post on this very thing. You can check out my blog post for my subscribers called Astrology and Jesus. And check out my other subscriber blog post. And then follow me on all the social webs. Tune in next week for, actually, I'm going to take a hiatus for July because I'm just going to celebrate all July, living my best life because I'm about to be 40, y'all. Look at this face. This face is about to be 40. What? But next week, I have a deeply personal and enlightening show entitled Letting Go of Love with Love. Y'all have to send some loving energy my way as I navigate the best way to communicate this message with respect to those who are a part of my story, but don't necessarily want to share their perspective of the story that we're both involved in. That's really, in this arena, period, it's really difficult to navigate through telling your story that's so deeply interlaced with others' story. And so, but all things are from my perspective. And if, the other side wants to share their own perspective, then I hope that they will be fearless enough to do so at some point. Well, again, that's it for me this week. Love and peace to all of you. I hope that you have the very best week that you can conjure up. Thank you.